Hello there and welcome to another video by the MXQ project. So today's video is about backing up your firmware using TWRP. So what is TWRP? It stands for Team Win Recovery Project, and we've actually done a video on this before. But I really want to emphasize this in this video that you must back up your firmware before attempting anything on this channel. The reason is because you could kill your box at some point and you may want to return to the original firmware that you had on your box. And of course, firmware is an absolute nightmare to get hold of, and getting the right one specific to your hardware might be impossible. So obviously backing up your current firmware is obviously the best way to go. TWRP unfortunately has been built for only a specific set of boxes. So the ones we find it works on is the HD8NQ models. So this particular port of TWRP was done by Abdul, and I think he probably only has a specific set of boards available to him at that time. So he's only able to make it run on a certain amount of hardware. It doesn't run on your hardware, unfortunately. There's not much I can do. There is actually two versions, and I'll discuss that as the video goes on. All we're going to be doing is booting from an SD card, so full-size SD card like that. So it shouldn't damage your box if it doesn't work or anything like that. All that will happen is if we get to the final method where we actually toothpick it to boot the TWRP program, it will just revert to your regular Android recovery. So if it doesn't work, I'm sorry, there's not much I can do about that. If it does work, great, then it gives you the opportunity to back up your firmware and keep everything safe. So let's move on to the first part, where I'm going to show you where to get the files from to place onto the SD card, and then how to actually boot TWRP from an SD card. It's really simple, really straightforward, and let's crack on with the first part. So first thing you need to do, you need to go to the mxqproject.com/files, and then find the TWRP folder as shown. Next thing, you need to choose either the top folder or the bottom folder. The top folder is the one I use, as it contains the HD8NQ file with TWRP, and the bottom one is for the Beelink. Click into whichever one's relevant to you. Read the stop text file if you like, it just gives a bit more information about what you need to do. And then download that file. So for Firefox users, you can right and click and save link as, and then just go and click save, and then it'll download the file. So good practice is to actually format your SD card before you actually do this. So insert your SD card into your computer, find your SD card in your setup, and then click format as shown, and then click FAT32 as shown, and then click start. Click OK and let it format. Next thing we need to do, we need to simply drag and drop that downloaded image file as shown. We just need to drag it onto the root of the SD card. So find your file, there's mine, and then just drag it across as shown. And that's how it should look on your SD card now. And that is pretty much it for that. Now let's move over to the TV, where we're going to show you how to do the first boot of TWRP on your MXQ S805 TV Box. So grab the SD card we've just placed the recovery.image file onto, which is TWRP. Place the SD card into the SD card tray on your MXQ. Grab something thin and sharp. And on the back of your MXQ box is an AV port. Inside there's a reset switch, and then feel for it. Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain to actually find for the first time, but you can probably hear that on camera. Hold that button in. Obviously make sure your HDMI cable's in and selected the right TV channel on your TV, and then apply power. Now to go over that again, pop an SD card into the SD card tray on your MXQ, find your reset switch in the AV port, hold that button in, obviously make sure your HDMI cable is in as well, and then apply power. And what should happen on screen is TWRP should launch for the first time. Now, unfortunately, if this doesn't happen and it just goes back to your standard Android recovery, then that image file isn't going to work for your box. You can try the other one and see if that one works. Now if it did work, then great, let's move on to the next part where I'll show you how to back up the firmware using TWRP. So this is probably the easiest part of the actual tutorial. Once you've actually booted TWRP, you should see this menu. So all you need to do is select Backup, and then what it'll do is it'll ask you just over here where you want to select where you want to actually save the recovery up to. Select storage, and then obviously here I've already selected external SD, but yours will probably say data. So select external SD, and then all you need to do is swipe to backup. You can actually select these if you want to save your logo, so that's the actual splash screen, and if you want to save your recovery as well, which is your Android recovery, as well as cache. But usually these are okay if you just want to do a quick backup. So if you're wondering, well, where's the external SD? Well, the external SD is the SD card that we've got running TWRP from. So ensure that's selected, otherwise it's actually going to back up your firmware and save it actually onto your internal memory, and that might take up quite a lot of space, so I recommend you actually just do it onto the SD card. So next thing you need to do is select, swipe to backup, and then as you'll see it'll start to do it. Now this will take a few minutes to actually do, but once it's done we'll move over to the PC where I want to actually show you what the system's actually created and what you need to do with it. So that's it, totally completed, and what that would have created is a folder onto the SD card, and I'll show you that in a second what it looks like. Now this will actually back up either LibreELEC, maybe you've got that installed onto your internal memory, or your, like I said at the start of the video, your original Android firmware. So to actually use the recovery, if I go back to the main menu, you'll see here it says restore. So if I click on restore, and then it says up here storage, make sure it's selected to external storage, so select external storage, and then here it will actually say where the folder is. So select it and then click swipe to restore. So if you ever need to restore anything, that's the process that you need to do. So I'll move over to the computer now. I'm going to show you what it's actually created. Now that folder it's created, you're going to have to keep it in a safe place, and whenever you're going to use it again, place it onto an SD card with TWRP, the recovery image as I showed you, and then just do exactly what I was showing you just then to actually recover your box. So to actually look at the folder that's been created, just insert the SD card into your computer, load it up, and as you can see, I've got my recovery.image there, which is TWRP, and what it's created above it is a folder that's named TWRP. Now you need to keep that folder really safe, start it somewhere that ensures that it's not going to get lost or deleted, and then whenever you're going to go and recover your box again using TWRP, follow the process that I showed you, boot recovery, and then select restore, and this folder should appear. As long as you've got these two files on your SD card, then you can recover that firmware that we've just backed up. So that's it. That's all you need to do to back up your firmware using TWRP. So if it didn't work for you, then I'm sorry, there's not much I can do about that at the moment. I'll probably do another video on other things you can actually do to back up your firmware, but for now, this is where we are with it. So if you did enjoy this video, give me a like. If you didn't, give me a dislike. If you'd like to come over to the Facebook group, the forum and the MXQ website, then I'll leave all the links in the description. So thanks again guys, and we shall see you in another video.